Hi folks, welcome to Let's Go Car Cruising. My name's Mark and I'm a certified car nut. I go to car shows, cruise nights, cars and coffee, any event with cars and wheels, and I get the stories because the stories and the memories are where it's at. Today I'm up in Fitchburg at the Hollis Hill Farm, and it's the Mustang Club of New England show, and we're going to have a great day. Just got here, starting to walk around, and the cars are still rolling in, and things look really good. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Hit the thumbs up, like button, subscribe, and a notification bell for me, and that'll tell YouTube that you like what I'm doing, and because I'm having a ball, and I appreciate it. So without further ado, we're going to get to it. Let's go car cruising. Have the good old Ruby girl out, the Never Enough Ruby Red Corvette 93 out today. Bought this one in December of 96. And it's a good old girl. She's comfortable, and I don't know, people don't give a lot of love to the C4s these days, but it's a fun car.
Hey, let me make sure I can unlock
it's an automatic with the FX3 adjustable suspension, G92 performance axle. And it's just a really fun car. 1 year only, ruby red paint. And the 40th emblems on the wheels. All right, we're here with John, and John's going to tell us about his really sharp Chrysler. What year is this, John?
It's a 1956 Chrysler Windsor.
Windsor, okay. As I was walking by, I heard you tell part of an interesting story, and I like to get the stories of cars from the owners. So
Sure.
Tell me about the car. What do we got?
Well, I've had this car now about 48 years.
Okay.
It was my uncle's car.
Wow.
And he lived in Brooklyn, New York.
Okay.
And actually in Flatbush. And basically it was a weekend car for him. It was just him and his wife. They didn't have kids. So
okay.
He used to come and visit us now and then. And the interesting part was, at that time, when he bought the car, I do remember going with my brother in the back, my dad, my uncle, going fishing and everything else. It was a car.
Right, yeah.
And now, as you can see, it's an antique per se.
Yeah.
But, he enjoyed the car. And when he came over our house, it was my job to wash it and then compound it and then wax it.
Okay, because
So,
they didn't have clear coat back then.
Nope.
And
that's what you had to do. You had
Yeah.
to get the grime off.
right.
And you had to be careful with the compound. Too much and you go down.
Right,
So it was
right.
just enough.
Just enough to take
enough to take the
the
dirt
edge off. Yep.
And then you would wax it again. So that was my job. So in around 1970, I think it was 76, he retired and he moved to Florida.
Okay.
And he didn't take the car because it didn't have air conditioning.
Okay.
So he knew I loved the car. So at that point, he just basically gave it to me.
Wow, that's
So,
awesome.
Drove it around, it was 20s, early 20s. And, I used to go with the guys. We used to go to drive-ins, put 2 or 3 guys in the back.
Sure,
Like everybody
absolutely.
did, close the trunk, drive
Pay
in.
by the car, cheaper by the dozen, right?
Yeah, that was it. They got you by the head. So, and the guy knew
Yeah.
as we drove in. And we'd park, open the trunk, and what do? We look for girls.
Absolutely.
And that was the thing to do.
Yep.
So did that, and then 79 I got married. Tooled around it a little bit, and then my first child came, and work and everything else, I kind of put it away.
Life happens.
Life happened. So
Right.
I put it away around 1980-ish, and it started at a friend's barn, and he had a farm, and just put it in the barn. I said, just stick it there. So every year I used to pay him $100 just to keep it there. And
Okay.
then around 2012, he called me up and said, John, you got to get the car out. I said, why? What's the matter? He says, I sold the farm.
Okay.
So at that point, dragged the car out, and it hadn't been started or anything like that, and towed it.
Yeah.
And then what I did was basically work on it to get it back. I do
Okay.
a lot in mechanical. So
Sure.
I mean, took the radiator out, took the carburetor, had rebuilt that,
Yep.
dropped the gas tank, put new brake lines in.
All the stuff that goes from
everything.
sitting.
Everything.
Right, yeah.
And the engine wasn't C, so able to turn a little bit, put
Yeah.
a little mystery oil, let it
Yep.
sit put
That's the
everything
trick.
back together, put new gas in it, and then all of a sudden that thing just started up like a baby.
Wow.
The engine's never been built. It's a 331 poly. So
Okay.
some people call it a baby Hemi, but it's got the poly heads, but
Okay.
it's got the Hemi block everything is set for the Hemi except for the manifold and the heads.
Okay.
And it's a 2-barrel, but it was 225 horsepower.
Okay. Well,
So it was a fast.
yeah. So that was good enough to move a big
Good
old
enough
car
to move
around.
this.
Sure.
And believe it or not, this was the bottom of the line for Chrysler.
Okay.
Sedan. So you had this, you had the Windsor, you had this, the New Yorker, you had the Nassau, and then the top of the line, which they called the Banker's Hot Rod, was the 300 series.
Yes, the letter cars, right?
The letter
Yeah.
cars.
Okay.
So at that point, again, got the car. I did all the mechanical. And then I don't do body work. I
Sure.
don't do paint.
Yep.
I know my limitations.
Right.
So I brought it to Hot Rod City at Paintworks Unlimited in Dover. I live in New Hampshire.
Okay.
And he did it back then, really as a winter type project. The
Sure,
install.
yep.
I said, take it. I don't have to store it. Do
Yep.
your thing. And that's what he did. And eventually then I wanted to do the interior. So I was able to get the rug and the headliner. And I was wondering at that time, I wanted to do the seats because my uncle put seat covers on it. But the seat covers looked like they were regular seats.
Sure.
So back then, that's what they looked like.
Mhm.
So I was talking to my dad, my uncle had passed. I said, geez, I really wish I knew the pattern. He looks at me like I'm weird. Well, take the seat cover off. There they were. They were worn, but he just covered them over.
Yep.
So we had the exact patterns to go by.
There you go.
So you had, it's kind of two-toned with leather and material with piping and everything else. So again,
Wonderful.
I wanted this to look as if it came out of the showroom.
Absolutely.
And that's what we did. And again, everything here is original. Nothing's really been modified. And
It's got a family legacy and it's got a story.
Yeah, it's got 129,000 miles on it. Engine's never been rebuilt.
Wow, that's awesome.
Never took the heads off. I had the transmission rebuilt. The seals were leaking on me.
Sure.
But outside of that,
Age happens.
age happens with these things.
Yeah. Well, great. Thank you. Thanks again for taking the time to tell me the story of the
my
car
pleasure.
and continued enjoyment with it because that's where it's at.
Okay.
Thanks again.
You're welcome.
All right, we're here with Ken, and Ken's got this really cool, I was going to say little, but it's not too little, and it's a Nash. But that's about all I can tell you about it, because I don't know, that's why I'm asking you. So you can tell me the story. What do we got, Ken?
This is a 1954 Nash Ambassador Custom. I
Okay.
believe there were about 20,000 of them made.
Okay,
This was the last year that Nash was made. Nashes were made from 1916 to 1954 when they merged with Hudson and became American Motors Corporation.
I see, okay.
The Ambassador was made from 1927 to 1974.
Yes, okay.
After that, this is the top of the line Nash that was sold at the time. You
Okay.
had Nash Rambler, you had a Nash Statesman, a little bigger than the Rambler,
Yeah.
smaller than this, and then you had the Ambassador Custom, which was top of the line, and you also had the Nash Metropolitan.
The little,
at that
yeah,
point. Yeah,
yeah,
the little four-cylinder English car
okay.
for the most part. Nash bodies, English motors.
I see,
English
okay.
driveline.
Oh, so tell me about this one. How did you find it?
Found it on eBay, fooling around looking for a Nash Metropolitan.
Fool around and
Not
look what
necessarily
happens.
to buy one, but when I saw this one at a kind of a dealer,
Okay.
he was selling it for a woman who was she was elderly and moving in with a relative. So
Okay.
it had to go.
It had to go.
Yep. And it sounded very original, which is exactly what I was looking for. I didn't want any modifications. I didn't want any dramatic repaint. Certainly
Sure.
wanted original color, and the engine was entirely original. At least
Okay.
that's what it said. But I bought it sight unseen.
Wow.
Yep.
Just pictures. Yikes.
Yep,
Well-
put in my high bid in the last 3 minutes of bidding, and I ended up
And you own it.
running out of time.
Congratulations,
And I
you
did.
own it. Well,
Yep.
that's awesome. So it's
this
six-cylinder.
engine- Yep, this engine here is actually the same engine that was in the Nash Healey, except for the Nash Healey would have had an aluminum head and different carburetors, English carburetors.
I see, okay.
Yep, but it would have had two carburetors.
And that looks like an AC pump on it.
That's air conditioning.
Wow.
Factory air. That's the
Factory air back in,
Yeah,
back in
Nash.
that day.
Nash. It was George Mason became president of Nash.
Okay.
I believe in maybe 47 or early 50s.
Yeah.
He was the president of Kelvinator.
I see.
Kelvinator, you
Okay.
can edit that part out.
So,
My
yeah,
stuttering.
that's okay.
Nash Kelvinator. Kelvinator
see.
was high in refrigeration systems. So I believe that he
gotcha.
said, if you want me to be president of Nash, we're going to roll my company, Kelvinator, into the Nash name.
I see,
nameplate.
okay.
So I believe that's why, to highlight the air conditioning that was already being developed for a refrigeration system, ended up in the car. So
the
this
car.
is really, it's not the first air conditioner, but it's the first fully upfront air conditioning. Nothing's in the trunk,
Right,
no
okay.
giant components, and this was about maybe half the cost of what you would have paid a few years earlier.
Okay.
This was about a $400 option.
And that was a lot of money in those days.
10% of the price of the car. I would guess.
Wow, just for AC.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, somebody checked the right boxes and,
Yeah, it was a dealership car.
oh, okay.
I bought it from the son of the original purchaser. But when I bought it, the son was about 99 years old.
Really, wow.
So it was in their family the entire time. And it's the original owner's name is on the back because it's a dealer car.
Okay,
And I think that's why it had the Le Mans package, which means it had the twin carbs,
okay.
had the hydromatic transmission, 4-speed GM hydromatic transmission,
Okay.
and had the air conditioning.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, thanks for telling the story, and I appreciate it. And
Sure.
I got a history lesson today.
Yep, there's
And,
more. I told you I could talk a lot about it.
And car guys do, and that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Thanks again, and continued enjoyment with the car.
Sure thing.
Thank you. 62 Chrysler. Nice car. Long, lots of sheet metal. And looks like a 66 Satellite. Custom Ford. 64 Chevelle. Oh, it's got some serious motor in it. Wow. Cool looking car. Roadrunner. And 56 Chevy. And another 56 Chevy. And more Mustangs at the Mustang show. Imagine that. All right, folks, we're here with Scott, and he's going to tell us about this really cool truck. I walked by it and I said, wow, that looks like a fun ride.
It's definitely a fun ride. It's a lot of fun to get thumbs up when you're driving down the road and meeting people at car shows.
So what is it?
It's a 1958 GMC 100
Okay.
that's got full custom suspension, front and
Sure.
rear.
I mean, it's down on the ground.
Oh yeah, it's all bagged. It's powered by a 5.3 LS style motor,
Okay.
a 4L60 transmission, automatic transmission, and patinaed.
Yes. Awesome. So you don't have to worry about someone touching it and
Nope.
putting fingerprints on it. and-
It might be a little sticky right now. I put linseed oil on it Friday afternoon, so it's-
yeah. That's what keeps it from rusting more, or
It gives it a sheen,
Okay.
and it kind of protects it from getting worse.
Okay.
Which I don't know how you could get patina to get worse, but it could disappear
It
and then
could,
be
yeah.
all bare
Yeah.
metal. Yeah.
So how'd you find it?
I saw a guy building cars or building trucks on Instagram,
Okay.
and I followed him for a little bit, and then I saw him building this one and another one.
Okay.
And I had reached out to him, being serious, and it just went from there.
Good. So how long have you had it?
3.5 years.
3.5 years. Okay.
Yep.
That's cool.
So it's got custom seat for the interior. It's got custom 20-inch wheels from Detroit Steel.
Okay. Yes, quite popular company. I've heard of them a lot.
Yep. The front suspension, it's original frame, but the front suspension is cut back just behind the firewall, and it's got a GSI suspension on it
Okay.
that's bagged, and then it's a custom bagged C-notch in the
With
rear.
the notch and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So right now the mufflers and the front cross member are on the ground. It can't get any lower.
Can't get any lower. That's it. Wow, that's cool.
Yep.
There you go. Well, thanks for telling us the story, Scott.
Oh, you're welcome.
I appreciate it, and I like the big back window. That's pretty cool
Oh,
too.
yeah.
And continued enjoyment with the truck because it's really cool.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you. A really sharp black Z06 Corvette. Another Corvette. Chevy Nova. Couple of Mustangs. Fairlane. And the white Mustang. All right, folks, we're here with Dave, and Dave's got this really cool VW Bug, and I know it's got an interesting story because it has to. So what do we have here, Dave?
It does have an interesting story. It's a 1963 ragtop, which is the last year that Volkswagen actually had the huge sliding ragtop.
Okay.
Which is kind of key. My very first Bug was a 63, so I'm back at it.
You're partial. That's what led you to this one.
Yep, this is number 37 in the ones that we've had owned built.
Okay.
So to say I've been around for a while.
It's an addiction.
It is. Most
Not a bad
definitely.
way. Not a bad one, but okay.
Yep. So this car came to Massachusetts in 1985. Came off the road in 1987 after a tree branch took out the right front fender, the roofline, hood, quarter panel, and the sliding ragtop mechanism.
Oh.
It was brought to my friend's shop about 15 years ago to be a donor car for another build, and he said, no way, can't do it, not with this car. It went to the back of his shop, he repaired the other car, and it sat there. About 6 years ago, I started bugging him to bring it back.
Okay.
And exactly 2 years ago, as of last Tuesday, we got the car home.
Okay.
It's been completely nut and bolt. All the body work, everything's come off, all the rust repair. There was only one panel on the floor. It's original chassis, original floors, original heater channels, all the original sheet metal still on the car, just hammered back out and made right.
Okay.
We stripped it down to bare metal. My 11-year-old son and my 13-year-old daughter and myself did all the work ourselves.
Well, that's creating a family legacy. There you go.
It is.
Awesome.
It is. And giving them something to enjoy, because my son and I took it out to the first car show and broke it. We took it to the second car show, and as soon as somebody leaned on the car, my 11-year-old got upset and went and wiped the car down and explained to him, you don't do that.
Just don't touch.
Ask.
Please, yeah.
And it was great to see him getting that kind of love for the car. And again,
more people need to teach their children that.
Yes, and some of the adults need to be taught that.
Exactly. We bring them out to show them and for people to appreciate, but we just don't like them to be touched.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
I have done. You see a lot of kids with autism, and the parents will pull them away. I will open my car and say, "Take a seat."
Right.
Because it gives them that bit of sensory, and they're enjoying it.
Yes.
I will not put them in a driver's seat, but in a passenger seat. And the car does have air ride. It's got 4-wheel disc brakes, Pro Street Freeway Flyer. It will move down the highway, but I will put a kid in here and raise it up and down and tilt it side to side.
Oh,
and
okay.
Fun stuff, which we can demonstrate in a
Sure.
bit. Like I said before, every nut and bolt came off the car, went back on the car. We changed from a 6-volt to a 12-volt system, obviously. Every nut and bolt, paint, body, all done in my garage at home, 27 by 27, trying to fight around my wife's car in the wintertime because she wants to park inside as well. And we accomplished it, and it's been great.
Awesome. So what's in it for an engine?
We have a 1914 cc with 041 heads, 120 Engel cam, which is a big cam for a Volkswagen.
Okay.
CB crank, CB pistons and rods, everything's light and flywheel.
Okay.
It will boogie. We have had it up over triple digits. I'm not going to say anything more than that because if the wife ever sees it.
Yeah.
But in mass, you got to keep up with highway. And this thing will definitely do it.
Awesome. Well, that's pretty cool. Thanks for telling the story, and it's fresh out this year, and
4 weeks.
4 weeks.
4
Wow.
weeks out, 672 miles as of today.
That's awesome.
So.
Well, continued enjoyment with it, and thanks for telling me. Thanks for telling me the story.
Awesome.
I'm going to take a walk around and see some cars. Got an SS Chevelle, small block car. A 55 Chevy 210. And a Hearst Olds. That's pretty cool. Got an early Dodge Dart. That's the big Dodge Dart before the A body. Chrysler Windsor that we interviewed. Chevy Truck, and a bunch of Mustangs. It's a Mustang Club show. Very nice stuff. All right, we're here with Dave, and I seem to have a knack for finding 69 Novas, so tell us about this one, Dave. This is really sharp.
It's a 69 SS 396. It's got the 350 horse motor in it.
Okay.
They made less of the 350 horse motors than they did the 375 horse motors.
Because everybody wanted the big.
Everybody wanted the 375 horse. They only made 1,920 something
Okay.
of this motor here with this particular model.
Awesome.
And when you add the 4-speed and the 12 volt, the numbers go down.
Okay. So how long have you had it?
I've had it around 25 years.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So it's part of the family.
I remember this car in Spencer when I was a little kid.
Okay.
We used to go to Dairy Queen.
Yes.
And I remember this car sitting in a corner there with a bunch of guys,
Yep.
all the hot rod guys.
Okay.
This was back in the 60s.
Sure.
Well, probably 70s. And so I just fell in love with the car, and I just found it for sale one time up in North Brookfield
Okay.
from the second owner, and I bought it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. So did you restored it?
Mostly. I
Okay.
mean, it's still the original top. The interior is still original.
Okay.
It's been painted once.
Yep.
Other than that, it's pretty original. I had the subframe out, of course. I just put all new bushings.
Oh,
and
sure.
New control arm bushings and idler arms and ball
What a
joints
difference
and
that
all.
makes, huh?
Oh yeah, it runs beautiful.
Awesome. Well, thanks for taking the time to
Okay.
say hello and tell us about the car, and
Okay.
continued good luck and
Beautiful.
enjoyment with it, because
All
it's a keeper.
All right. Thanks
Thank you.
very much. Have a great day.
GTO with a lot of motor in it. Nice looking car. Standard shift. Big wheels. Cool GTO. With a wing on the trunk. And some funny bottles in the trunk. There you go. That's a double shot if I ever saw one. All right, folks, we're here with Todd, and I've seen this car a couple places before, but I've never had the chance to talk to him about it, and I found him. So tell us about the car, Todd, because this is wicked cool.
It's a 57 Ford Fairlane that's been totally customized.
Okay.
I've only had it since August of last year.
Yep.
Older gentleman by Joe previously had it. He was in his 80s, decided to get out of the hobby. So he did a lot of the build work. I can't take credit for that. I'm just trying to keep it going.
Pass on and carry on the legacy, because we're caretakers.
Yep, for
There
sure.
you go.
But they shaved the door handles all off and,
Okay.
and all the emblems. It's got a 390 fuel injected out of a 60s T-Bird. The interior's custom out of a T-Bird.
Okay.
Did work on the headlights. They've extended the fins and sunk the tail lights in.
Wow.
Airbags.
Okay.
Still
Cool.
making some adjustments because he liked it one way, I like it. You know,
Yeah, well, it's
different
a personal touch. Sure,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
And you can do that with a custom car.
way. Yep, for sure.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for taking the time to say a quick hello. I'm going to carry on and have a great day.
I appreciate it.
Thank
as well.
you.
Thank you.
Had to take a look at this 70 Chevelle, and I thought it was all black, but it's got the ghosted black gray stripes on it. Custom wheels, Willwood brakes, straight as an arrow black. What a nice car. The inside, pretty stock, but I see a 5-speed emblem on it. The shifter, that's pretty cool. Custom. Wow. That's bright. Got a little extra. Not the DZ302 in that one. Woo. Nice interior. Nice custom job. 69 Camaro. Take a look at this T-Bird. There's a lot of work in this bad boy. White, nicely restored. In black and straight as an arrow.
Looks like he doesn't even use it.
Two-door. I think they called them personal luxury cars back then. Wow, that is sharp. What a sharp little GMC C10 pickup. Step side, custom paint, custom interior, total rebuild. What a nice job. Here's a sharp little black and blue Model A Ford pickup. Something to get out, haul a bale of hay, and pick up a sack of grain, and have a good fun family time in. Nice interior, and pretty simple because that's all there was. Here's a little Model A 4-cylinder with the accessory auto light heater. Kind of looks like it catches air in the front and warms it up over the exhaust manifold and feeds it into the cab. All right, folks, my apologies to the last few interviews. If you can see on my collar, it seems like my little wireless microphone went missing, and when I went to pack up my stuff, it was missing, and I was a little bit disappointed about that. But I ended up finding it on the grass right behind my car. So at some point I must have stopped to sit down and have a drink of water, and must have brushed it off. So again, thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, other than my goof up at the end, hit the like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. I'm having a ball with this, and meeting people and telling stories of cars. So again, thanks again for watching. Check out the rest of the channel. I've got a bunch of other videos up there, and we're going to get out there and get some real interesting content. And get your cars out, folks, and let's go car cruising.